Your name is Roger, yes?
Roger.
Ah, that's your name.
Roger.
Good. And what do you do, Roger?
I'm a financial consultant.
Ah, financial consultant, eh?
Roger,
yeah,
yes.
Terrific. OK, Roger, your special subject tonight is the economies of the European community. Your time starts now. Best of luck.
Thank you.
How much does Greece owe, Roger?
$367 billion.
Correct. And who do they owe it to?
Mostly to the other European economies.
Correct. How much does Ireland owe?
$865 billion.
Correct. And who do they owe it to?
Other European economies, mostly.
Correct. How much do Spain and Italy owe?
$1 trillion each.
Correct. Who to?
Mainly France, Britain and Germany.
Correct. And how are Germany, France and Britain going, Roger?
Well, they're struggling a bit, aren't they?
Correct. Why?
Because they've lent all these vast amounts of money to other European economies that can't possibly pay them back.
Correct. So what are they going to do?
They're going to have to bail them out.
Correct. Where are they getting the money to do that, Roger?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one.
How much does Portugal owe?
Hang on a minute. What was the answer to that earlier question?
Just keep answering the questions, Roger. Where is Portugal going to get the money it owes to Germany if Germany can't get back the money that it lent to Italy?
Just a minute. What was the answer to the previous question? The question was, how can broke economies lend money to other broke economies who haven't got any money because they can't pay back the money the broke economy lent to the other broke economy and shouldn't have lent it to them in the first place because the broke economy can't pay it back?
You're wasting very valuable time, Roger. How much money does Spain owe to Italy?
$41 billion, but where are they going to get it?
Correct. What does Italy owe to Spain?
$27 billion, but they haven't got it. They're broke.
Correct. How can they pay each other if neither of them has any money?
They're going to get a bailout, aren't they?
Correct. And where's the money coming from for the bailout?
That's what I'm asking you.
Correct. Why are people selling the European currency and buying the US dollar?
Because the US economy is so much stronger than the European economy.
Correct. Why is that, Roger?
Because it's owned by China.
Correct. And very well done. And after that round, you've lost $1 million.
I've lost $1 million. I thought you said well done.
Yes, well done. You've only lost $1 million. That's an extraordinary performance, Roger.
I've only lost $1 million.
Very well done.
And that's quite good, is it?
Oh, it's excellent.
Sell everything immediately. Quickly.
Have you ever wondered why there's so much debt? Or why the experts and authorities seem completely unable to solve the current debt crisis? Well, the reason they can't solve it is because they're trying to fix and repair the existing banking system. But the existing banking system is completely flawed. It's the existing system that has buried all of us under a massive mountain of debt. In the next 3 minutes, I'll show you how the design of the banking system guarantees that the vast majority of people end up in debt, and why allowing the banks to go back to business as usual would be the worst thing for the economy and for society as a whole. First, where do you think all this debt came from? Many people would assume that a bank needs to get money from a saver before it can make a loan to a borrower. After all, isn't that what banks do? Taking money from people who want to save it and lending it to businesses and people who need to borrow. Well, not exactly. Here's a fact that not many people know. A bank doesn't actually need to have any real money before it can make a loan to someone. When you take out a mortgage from the bank doesn't take that money from somebody's grandma's life savings. No, instead, they simply open up a computer and type some numbers into your account. You get a huge wad of money in your account, and you also get a huge wad of debt that you'll be repaying over the next 25 years. But the money that you borrowed was created out of nothing and just typed into your account. We know that's hard to believe, but you don't need to take our word for it. The Bank of England themselves say that when banks make loans, they create additional bank deposits for those that have borrowed the money. These bank deposits are just the numbers in your account. So almost all the money we use today is made in this way, out of nothing, by banks when they make loans. And the only way that we as the public can get our hands on this money is to go into debt to the banks. In other words, almost every pound that we need in the economy to run shops, businesses, factories, schools and hospitals must first be borrowed by us from a high street bank. And if one person has £1 million, the rest of us must be £1 million in debt. If we try not to go into debt, then the banks would be unable to create money and the economy would grind to a halt. This is effectively a whole-scale privatisation of the power to create money. I know what you're probably thinking, but this is no conspiracy. We've been through over 500 documents from the Bank of England to make absolutely sure that this is how the system works. From this research, we've developed a simple solution to the debt crisis. It involves removing this power to create money from the banks and making sure that money, whether it's cash or electronic money, can only be created by the Bank of England. Any new money would be created and spent into the economy instead of being lent by banks to people who already have too much debt. This new money would allow us collectively to reduce our total debts to the banks and help us to end the debt crisis. The authorities are trying to patch up a system that is fundamentally broken. If we let them continue, then we will all end up even deeper in debt. And problems like poverty, extreme inequality and economic chaos will get worse and worse. Banks are the most heavily subsidised businesses in the world, especially protected by governments. While the money runs out for the rest of us, the largest private banks still thrive. This is because they get the biggest subsidy of them all.
The license to print money.
Hard to believe? Martin Wolf, the chief economics editor at the Financial Times, said it recently. The essence of the contemporary monetary system is the creation of money out of nothing by private banks, often foolish lending. You heard that right. Private banks create money out of nothing. Then they loan it to us and ask for interest on top. If you've ever wondered why the bank buildings around the world soar higher than any palace or spire ever did, you now have the answer. But the banks don't simply print money using secret printing presses in their basements. They don't have to. Like so many other things these days, printing money has now gone digital. With the popular use of debit cards, electronic fund transfers and internet banking, only 3% of the money in the UK is now made of paper and metal coin. The other 97% is entirely in computers. Electronic money is convenient for everyone, but it's especially convenient for the private banks, since they own, run, and control the entire digital money system. And what do they do with this special privilege? Do they channel new money, the blood supply of the nation, towards the things we need, like hospitals, schools, universities, and public transport? Not if it doesn't make a profit for them. Instead, they use their license to print money to gamble on the financial markets and push house prices out of reach of ordinary people by pumping hundreds of billions of pounds into risky mortgages. This is exactly how the banks caused the financial crisis. And now the rest of us are being asked to pay for it. If we can't afford to run hospitals and build schools, can we really afford to subsidise the financial industry? Should we have to live with less so the bankers can have more? This is ludicrous, and it's time to put a stop to it. The private banks can't be trusted to hold the reins to our entire economy. We need to take away the bank's power to create money out of nothing. This will stop them from causing yet another financial meltdown and allow us to afford the crucial services that we as a society need.
There used to be a thing called moral hazard, where if banks took risk, they would be at some point penalized by the system. But now, the more risk that they take, the greater the rewards they get. The more risks that they take, the lower interest rates are kept, and the more rewards they get. So look at MF Global in America. JP Morgan is now going to step in front of the allocated accounts of customers of MF Global and actually steal money from their accounts. We haven't seen this level of larceny and theft since the Nazis stole assets from people in Germany in the 30s. They actually just went into their accounts and stole the money. Now JP Morgan and others are just going into accounts, allocated banking accounts at MF Global, and they're stealing their money. This is outrageous. This hasn't been done in decades, but you have to hand it to them. They have staying power, these zombies, these terrorists, and there's no regulations in place at all. There's no SEC with any teeth. There's no FSA. There's no Serious Fraud Office. There's no regulations at all. Interest rates are 0%, so expect more of the same.
What the hell Let's talk about Greece's new Prime Minister, Lucas Papademos, former Vice President of the European Central Bank, formerly of the Federal Reserve of Boston, and now Mario Monti, set to be the new Italian PM, formerly with Goldman Sachs and reputedly a member of the super-secret Bilderberg Group. Are bankers taking over politics?
Well, it's a night of the living dead. And all of these zombie bankers, we can't get rid of them. You can't kill them. Iceland thought that they had killed off their zombie terrorist bankers, but they've risen again, and they're now stalking Iceland. You'd have thought the 9/11 attacks would have wiped out those terrorist zombie bankers at Cantor Fitzgerald and Morgan Stanley, but they live to bank another day. They are a plague around the world, and certainly in Europe, as you pointed out, there are no elections, but they're putting bankers in charge to bring about total banker domination as the world goes down a slippery slope into banker hell.
But now, Max, if indeed these former bankers are taking political control, what are their main priorities? What are their agendas? Are we talking, geopolitical strategies here or what?
The main agenda is to create more debt. So in the Eurozone, they have an opportunity to bring all the balance sheets of all the countries together and create new lending facilities like EFSF, which is a new €5 trillion lending facility. And they want to build on that to create 10, 20 trillion euro lending facilities because bankers get paid on how much debt they create. Never mind the fact that to pay for the debt, ultimately they have to impose more austerity measures. So more austerity measures, more debt, more fees for bankers, more financial terrorism.